check that I have started my recording. I haven't. And how it is only one person. For those who are starting on the recording now, we are on this slideshow called Unit 5.1, which you can find in the Discord chat. The commentary paragraph is effective, however, I believe the student should have mentioned his audience and how it is only one person, which makes his diary entry so expressive. Like his use of idioms. He covered the language and structure part of commentary quite well, in my opinion, but it lacks depth. Like how a lexical field is created through words such as cramped apartment, noise, smell, and dirt. He briefly comments how these words impact how the reader views the apartment. However, he does not mention what devices he used. I would say the response is a bit too brief and definitely needed more of what his explanation, more of his.
Sorry, bad.
I know we're going to go to your number 2 as well. I know you wrote 2 responses. Like why he used idioms and why he made a punctuation error at however.
But it wasn't that case. Remember, it was where he used the however as a...
My brain is a little bit slower than usual today because I have a massive headache. I had a headache all night.
I feel you.
So I woke up multiple times last night from my headache.
Sorry. So think of the first one as if that is the whole student response, and the second one is if it was just part of the response.
Yeah. This reflective commentary is extremely concise and does not waste any time or words. In 50 words, the writer managed to, in more or less 50 words, the writer managed to explain aspects. How do you make that little symbol on the keyboard?
It's right next to number 1, and you don't have to press shift.
He should have added his audience in his commentary, as it is an important convention in a diary entry. But who is the audience of a diary entry?
Oh, yeah. I explained what it was.
Like who? Can anyone tell me who the audience is of a diary entry?
Yourself.
I mean, you should be yourself, yeah.
Cool. So, there was a student who they needed to write about, I eventually stopped marking her work in class because we were doing one-to-one lessons and sometimes I'll mark the work in class with them. But I stopped marking her work in class because she got very aggressive with me because I didn't give her the mark that she thought she deserved. On that note, I just want to tell you guys that I literally did I learned to mark these exams not by doing learning how to mark exams in general. I specifically did a course with Cambridge to learn to mark this specific exam. Okay, so this paper 1, 2, 3, and 4. So, I do know how to mark your 9093 exams, and because I know, and because a lot of your previous marking of exams, people might have been a lot more lenient with you, you're going to think I'm a very strict marker, and that I am kind of unreasonable. However, that's just how Cambridge, this exam is marked. When you wrote your IGCSEs, it was marked IGCSE English is easy. But when your AS is marked, it is marked strictly because it's not marked strictly, it's marked according to the requirement. And if you do not meet the requirement, you don't meet the requirement. So, in terms of audience, who is our audience of a diary entry? It's ourselves. But why would we write a diary entry? What's the purpose of a diary entry?
To vent.
Yeah, it can be therapeutic sometimes.
Okay. Anything else?
Is this basically
to reflect, maybe? Maybe something happened, and
something.
By writing it down and going back to it, you maybe reflect on it.
Daniela was saying something. Daniela, what were you saying?
I was going to say that as a way to express themselves without worrying about anyone's opinions or to cater to anyone else's viewpoints.
Yeah. Anything else? So if I tell you to write a diary entry about a music concert, and I don't tell you who you went to this music concert and you're going to write a diary entry about the event, are you going to mention which specific concert you went to, like mention the band's name and stuff like that?
No.
Why not?
I would say depending on the person, because you might want to look back at it and remember after a long time if you
Yeah.
want to read it again.
But I mean, let's say, okay, so my favorite band, oh my gosh, that's hard. But let's say Panic. I wouldn't go watch Panic at the Disco because they suck live. Well, it's just Brendan Urie, but they're finished now. So let's say Fall Out Boy, because that makes me feel like a 14-year-old. So let's say Fall Out Boy comes to South Africa. I would totally buy tickets for Fall Out Boy. After the show, I'm going to write my diary entry. Am I going to say, I went to go watch my favorite band play, and they played 3 of my favorite songs? Or am I going to say, I went to go watch Fall Out Boy live at the FNB Stadium? I'm going to be specific. Where did I watch them? I watched them at the FNB Stadium, and like, the emotions were really high. It was amazing. The lighting was amazing. I loved the stage production. For me personally, I'm really into stage production and stuff like that. And so I loved the stage production. I loved the backdrops. I would talk about that. I would talk about which songs were my favorite and which songs I didn't really like. But I'd be specific about what I liked and what I didn't like and what made me excited and stuff like that. And I talk about how it affected me emotionally and whether I think it was the best event of my life, right?
Yeah, you'd want to remember every detail if you liked it.
Yes, so you talk about that. Now, there was an exam, a paper 2, that my students wrote for me, and what they did was, some of them, those who got good marks were specific. And this is not just me, this is in the examiner's report. I don't know if I've shown you guys the examiner's report before.
You have.
So in the examiner's report, it said, higher level students will be specific about which band they watched. Lower level students will not mention the band's name. And that was very true. That is exactly what happened. The lower level students did not understand the audience or the context of the diary entry, and so they didn't actually talk about the specific band name. They just spoke about a band, their favorite band. They said my favorite band. So especially in a question like this, you need to make me believe that you are really writing a diary entry. Do you understand?
Yes.
It doesn't
Yeah.
have to be like, it can be fictional. You can make it all up. Like, you don't have to talk about your deepest thoughts in your exam, but you need to at least pretend that you're talking about your deepest thoughts. And, like, I mean, my favorite band is Panic at the Disco. My brother's favorite band is something. Who are those? Imagine Dragons? So my brother's favorite band is Imagine Dragons. I might write my diary entry and talk about going to an Imagine Dragons concert, but to be honest, I would never pay money to go watch Imagine Dragons. Like, I just wouldn't. So but I can still talk about it in my thing as if I would pay money for it, because it can be fictionalized in that way. So the point of it is to the point of the shorter writing is to make sure that you've like been specific about what you want to go do. So I just wanted to make sure that we are all on the same page about being specific about who we're going to watch, why we're going to watch them, why we enjoyed them, what was good about it. This commentary did not mention any particular audience it was speaking to. It came off as a general diary entry written for everyone and not speaking specifically to a group of people. So again, I don't feel like you... I just want to... achieve this. Let me just check what you have done here. I'm a little bit confused. Okay. Achieve the style of a diary through use of short present tense opening. We're here, which conveys a sense that it has just been experienced. I also think I indicated my outlook through the negative references to the cramped apartment and the list of three: noise, smell, and dirt. Okay, so that was... if I look at this, let me just quickly respond to this question, and then you can see what my response would be. So, if I had to evaluate this commentary, I would say what they did well was that they did evaluate whether they achieved their purpose, the purpose of the diary. Now, they looked at the style, and they achieved their style through short present tense opening. So that's a good analysis thing here. Now, why would they want to achieve that purpose? They say, which conveys a sense that this has just been experienced. So talking about the short present tense does show that something has just been experienced. So like they were just, yeah. And then I also think I indicated my outlook through the negative references to the cramped apartment and the list of three. Now, indicated my outlook through the negative references. This is very vague. Honestly, this is my outlook on what? And maybe here we could have spoken about some kind of contrast, the excitement versus the cramped apartment. Let me just look at the diary entry quickly. At last, we're here. I've been waiting for this moment so long. I was desperate to leave the city. Oh, our cramped apartment, the noise, the smell, and the dirt, and the power cuts, especially the power cuts. So they are very excited. They possibly just walked into the house, and they went to their room and went to go write this diary entry. So they are comparing the old place they stayed in to the new place, and they're very excited about this, and they're very happy about this. Now, in terms of the student response, I think it isn't very specific. It's not... They could have spoken about the fact that we're here is them speaking about it in a positive way. How other ways that they might be speaking about it in a positive way, and then yeah, this is a little bit vague, so I think that would be something I would say about that. So the commentary did not mention any particular audience it was speaking to. It came off as a general diary entry written for everybody and not speaking specifically to a group of people. The piece of text was quite short, precise, and straight to the point. The author showed his mood in the beginning and the end, conveying how he felt about the two houses. Okay, so again, I'm not sure whether you're talking about the commentary here or whether you are talking about what am I doing? Whether you are talking about the commentary here or whether you are talking about the diary entry. You know what I mean? The author clearly showed their point of view about the original house, about what they did not like, the dirt smell. However, for the uncle's house, he felt quite a big room for detail, which kind of came off short. He left quite a big room for detail. Okay, now, the use of the words, the uncle's house was not even mentioned in the commentary. So I don't think you are looking at the correct thing.
Yeah, yesterday I did say I was writing about the diary entry.
Okay. Did you end up writing about the correct thing later on?
I tried changing a few words to make it sound. I was writing about the commentary.
This commentary clearly outlined the style that they were writing in and their point of view about the two houses. However, the commentary did not quite give enough detail about the text, what was the purpose of the diary entry, what language choices did they use to make the diary entry come off in this particular way. So the only thing they really did to talk about how they made the diary entry come off in a particular way was them talking about the short present tense opening. We're here. That's the only thing they really did. And the rest was about how they felt about the other place, which was the cramped apartment. Okay. You guys have written quite nice long answers, and I really appreciate that. I see you guys are really starting to put effort in. I don't know what I said that made you suddenly realize that you need to start putting effort in, but I'm glad you are. Does anyone know who Luan is?
No. But so the reason why I got motivation is because I watched a frame by frame analysis of the Emoji Movie trailer.
Oh. Okay, well, send that to everyone.
No. That's a meme. It's a meme. I would not let anyone watch the Emoji Movie. I had to watch that shit in theaters.
I watched the Emoji Movies with my kids, I think.
How old were they?
I don't know, like...
How did you even let them in?
No, we didn't go to the movies. But my kids are 5 and 6, they can go to movies.
No, because the Emoji Movie was released in 2017.
My daughter was born in 2016.
Yeah, but how is she supposed to comprehend what's happening?
Can I teach you my trick on how to have intelligent kids for if you guys ever have kids?
Make them interested in learning?
But how?
By associating it with something good, like every single time you finish something, you get a sweet.
No, that's not what I do. Basically, there's two things that I do. I have always treated my kids as if they're 2 years older than what they are. So my daughter is currently 6. I treat her like an 8-year-old. And so, she says, I'm bored. I say, read a book. She says, I can't read. I'm like, I know you can. I have seen you read, because she doesn't want me to know that she can read for some reason. She sits with me and reads books with me sometimes, and she does the reading. She just genuinely, I don't know if she genuinely believes she can't read, but she can read. And so she does that. So I treat her as if she's 2 years older than she is. So if we have a shopping list, if we need to go shopping, I tell her to make a shopping list. Like people wouldn't do that with a 6-year-old, but they would do that with an 8-year-old. So I tell her to make a shopping list, and sometimes she tries to spell the words and then struggles. And if she's not in the mood for spelling the words, then she just draws pictures of the things we need. But I just give her responsibilities like that. But I've always done that. Like, I've always just expected them I've just treated them as if they're intelligent, and then they are. And another thing that I do is I create a learning environment around them. So I do not limit anything that can teach them. So, yeah, they watch a lot of... My son loves watching streamers play, like, car games. But he is also he's 5, and he's really passionate about maths, and I do not believe in teaching academic work until kids are ready for it. So he can start academic work when he feels like it, but he can do grade 3 maths already, and I haven't taught him any of it. He just learned it online, because I just gave him access to the internet. I do track his internet access. Like, I have, like, pings on my computer that tell me what he's looking at. But yeah. Anyway, so that was the reason I started doing that with my kids, is because that was how Katash, my wife, was raised. And she's literally the smartest person I know. Like, I have never met anyone as smart as her. And I genuinely, when I met her, I thought I was really smart because I was smarter than most people I know. But she can argue circles around me.
Okay, but can she pull apart 2 Lego bricks? 2 of those one thin piece Lego bricks, or slicked up with oil.
She can.
That's my benchmark.
She's got what she. There's like a little tool that you can use. She's got one of those little tools.
Damn it.
Okay.
Why do you have something for that situation? That doesn't make any sense.
Pardon?
I literally thought about it on the spot.
So the comment also mentions listing his negative outlook, but has not explained at all why he chose this and exactly what effect seeing his point of view has. Yes, I think this is a very good evaluation. He could have said that seeing it from his view proves it's a diary entry, since he's writing for himself about himself, without worrying about others' perspective or opinions. Listing I think you meant listening. Listing. I think it was meant to be listing. Listing the negatives may also only be something he's comfortable doing in private, and this acts more of a place to rant. Very good. And I think you could. I think they should have maybe included that in the commentary. To explain, okay, what effect does this have? Why is this a thing? And I think this is a very good thing if we're looking at your ability to analyze the diary entry. This is a very detailed, possibly leaning towards sophisticated analysis point. So I think that is very good. Okay. That is something you wouldn't do for a big audience. And yeah, so this is good, although we are looking at the diary entry, the commentary, not so much the diary entry, so we're analyzing the commentary instead of the diary entry, and I don't feel like you've quite done that in this last paragraph here, but you have done some commentary, and I appreciate that. So I feel this commentary paragraph is well effective. Gosh. Just give me a sec. Okay, the person who said this, I feel this commentary paragraph is well effective. So well is, what part of speech is well? Does anyone know? Is it a verb? Is it a noun? It's an adjective.
It's an adverb, I think.
It's an adverb.
I don't know.
Cool. Effective. What part of speech is that?
I don't know. I can't think of any.
It's an adjective. So we are using we are trying to elaborate on the effective, and we are trying to add more information to the effective. So what part of speech would we need to use to elaborate on effective?
A noun. Wait, sorry. I'm thinking of behind the adjective.
Just before effective. What would we say just before effective?
I don't know. I'm used to usually using an adjective and then a noun. I don't know what comes before the adjective. Just to.
Okay, what part of speech is very?
I'm thinking. Isn't it also an adverb?
Adverb?
It is an adverb, yes. However, we are looking here at this. So we are using an adverb. We should be using some kind of adverb here because it is talking about Okay, so we're going to be using an adverb, but we are trying to create the degree. So we are either saying, basically what I'm saying is we should have maybe said, I feel this commentary paragraph is very effective, not well effective. So we want to have some kind of degree adverb. We want to show to what degree is it effective. Does that make sense? This is a
Yep.
little snippet of grammar lesson that you won't often get me to do. Okay. However, it does lack some key aspects. For starters, I do agree. So I just want to say, using a phrase like "for starters" is very good. It creates some kind of structure in your writing. So when you guys are writing, I want to see you say firstly, secondly, thirdly, or additionally, moreover, however, stuff like that. Those things all add to your writing. And I don't want you to overuse it, but I want you to use it to structure your writing so that it's easier to follow. Because if you say firstly, and then you make a point, and then you say additionally, and then you carry on with the point, and then you say secondly, then I understand that everything after the firstly is related to the same idea, and then you are creating another point which is the secondly stuff, and that's related to another idea which is another proof of the original thesis statement. Does that make sense? Or an elaboration of the thesis statement. Through the use of negative references, cramped apartment, however, they have failed to go further in depth as to how that achieves the task requirements. Very good. And what are the task requirements? Who can tell me? Of the shorter writing.
You need to be concise. You need to cover all your bases, and go in depth for important points in the text, like when, why he decided to write the diary entry, and
I'm talking about the diary entry itself. What are the task requirements of the diary entry itself?
Oh, I thought it was the reflective commentary. Sorry.
Okay.
Oh yeah, it's the actual diary that had to be written.
Okay.
So I know one of the requirements was going from to a new location that was that you weren't aware of. But I know the student that did write the diary entry didn't do that. So instead they wrote about a location they were already aware of and they were there before. So I guess they already failed in that requirement. I can't really remember what the other requirements were, to be honest.
So something I want to just mention, so if we look, let me just go back to the question. So family has recently moved to a new and unfamiliar place. Okay, so that's actually a very good point. It's supposed to be an unfamiliar place, and he didn't talk about, or they didn't talk about an unfamiliar place necessarily. I don't think you would be marked down for that. I wouldn't personally mark you down for that, because while it is not necessarily totally unfamiliar, it is still a new area to live in. So going on holiday somewhere and living somewhere are very different things. Does anyone know what I mean by that? Has anyone ever had a big move? Has anyone ever had a big move and you knew the place before, but you'd scoped the place out and you'd visited there maybe, but then you move there and it's a totally different area. It's like a whole new world.
Well, it happened so long ago, so I can't really remember.
Okay. So when I first got married, I moved from, so I grew up in Edenvale. I moved from Edenvale to the north of Joburg. So Edenvale is on the east of Joburg, and it's a totally different culture. The traffic is intense. I used to sit in traffic. I had to leave either before 6 in the morning and get to, like, I don't need to be at college at 8 o'clock, but I used to leave before 6 in the morning so that I could get to college at 10 past 6, because if I left after 6, I'd only get to college at 9. It would take me 3 hours to get there, when without traffic it would take me 20 minutes to get there. So it was a totally new and unfamiliar place. Now, I didn't have an awareness of that traffic while I was there visiting my mother every now and then, but I experienced that traffic. I experienced the newness of the place only after I moved there. So I think we can make an argument for, even though the person moved to their uncle, it was an unfamiliar place. But I do want to say, if we look at the other requirements, you write your diary reflecting on the day's event and conveying your outlook and mood. So what they needed to do was really reflect on the day's event, and we wanted to not just see them mention the day's events, but they needed to reflect on it, looking at how it made them feel. So did they achieve that in their writing, right? So let's go look at their writing quickly. So I had to almost push poor old mama out the door, however. Okay, so this is a mention of something that was part of the day. We're now going to share this huge house. We used to come here for holidays. Now it's our new home. I feel like dancing on the roof. So he has provided some context. This is obviously not a full piece. This is not 400 words. I think they're on the right track here, whoever this is. Further into depth as to see how that achieves the task requirements. I do agree that they've achieved the start of the diary through present tense writing, and their opening line, "We're here," since it gives the effect of the writer giving us an insight into their in-moment experience, thus again adding on to the diary style, since diaries are very personal. This reflective commentary is extremely concise and does not waste. Okay,
I don't know why that one repeated again.
No, I went down to it later. I went down to it earlier. I think although the response was short, it is still effective in what it's trying to cover. The student explains how they conveyed mood and outlook and provided valid reasoning and explanations, including references to things like the list of 3. Okay, cool. What is 3? What is like the significance of 3? What do you guys think?
Well, it's trying to it's trying to make the apartment. It's trying to list those 3 words that were given to the apartment, and we assume it's in a negative connotation.
But 3 itself. Like, what is the significance of 3?
It's a 5-letter word.
Anyone else?
Well, usually when someone decides to repeat something 3 times, it usually just ends up sitting in your mind. Mm-hmm. So that's what I think about it from a psychology point of view. But
yes, that's very true. So it's it's a very effective way to repeat something. If you repeat something 4 times, it can be too much. If you repeat something only twice, it can be too little. So saying it 3 times has the effect of really solidifying it in your mind. And often what we'll do is we'll see that there's 3 things mentioned, or there might be some kind of triadic structure. So a triadic structure is, if you look at the structure of a piece, it might have 3 main points that it covers, or 3 main aspects that it covers. And 3 is generally the number of completion, the number of wholeness. It does have a lot of psychological significance. And it's actually, we're not quite sure why 3 is such an important thing, but it is. So mentioning in the thing that, okay, just give me a sec. Okay, so we've got that mention of 3, so that's very good. They could have talked more in depth about the stylistic and linguistic choices and how they affected tone and readability. When we talk about stylistic and linguistic choices, can anyone tell me what those are? What are stylistic and linguistic choices? What do we mean when we're talking about that?
Well, stylistic would be how if he puts a lot of exclamation marks to make it seem like he's very excited, and a linguistic choice would be to have personal idioms that that he created for him to describe what's happening. And another linguistic choice I would think would be if he writes it formally or informally. Oh, sorry, that would probably be stylistic. Never mind. Sorry, I think I'm mixing the two.
So stylistic is about the way it's written, and I mean they're very related, honestly. It's difficult to, if you think of a Venn diagram, they do have a lot of overlap. But yeah, I would say that register would fall into stylistic, whereas linguistic would be the word choices. Even the list of 3, well, the list of 3 might be a stylistic thing. Linguistic would be the way that he phrases things, the way that he phrases the sentence. Yeah. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So it is an effective commentary paragraph. The student refers to his use of the short present tense opening and the list of 3. He also gives examples of the elements he's referring to. But I just want to mention to this person that it was quite limited in terms of what was covered in the piece. It was it definitely lacked depth and it lacked detail. So obviously this piece doesn't need to be as detailed as a commentary from paper 1, but it does still need to have detail. Then last one, I feel the commentary paragraph is effective because it is written in a strategic way which helps the audience understand what the text is about. Okay, I'm glad you wrote this, written in a strategic way which helps the audience understand what the text is about. This means nothing. Okay. Oh wait, I didn't read the last part. It is kept short and sweet, therefore straight to the point. It is written very carefully and thoughtfully to meet the right requirements of the question. You are not actually saying what requirements of the question it is meeting. You are saying it's short and sweet. Cool. Why is that relevant? Why do we want it to be straight to the point? Shouldn't we have some kind of elaboration? Shouldn't we have some kind of explanations of our points? When we're writing about our linguistic and stylistic choices, we should always aim to use a Peel method or a similar method where we are making a point, we're giving some evidence of our point to support our point. We are giving an explanation of our point, and then we're linking our point back to the purpose. Or back to your thesis statement or whatever. Does that make sense? So you have used a lot of nice words here. However, this is a prime example of a student who has nice words, but you are not showing me any unique thought. I am not able to see from this that you have an understanding of what these requirements of the question are. I am here. You've said they've written carefully and thoughtfully. How do you know that? What have they done that has been careful and thoughtful? It is kept short and sweet, therefore straight to the point. Okay, this could be a good point, but why? Why is that important? Explore that. Do you see? So you've used a lot of like things that sound. It's actually a very common thing that people do. You say a lot of things that sound clever but have no substance. Okay. To that person, I'm really sorry. I used that as an example to explain a problem that happens often. So I'm not attacking you though. Okay.
Can sense.
Pardon?
I can sense your hatred for politicians.
What?
Because the politicians are.
Oh yeah.
Politicians do that.
Okay. Just give me a sec.
Actually,
Yeah.
I actually want to ask you, as an English teacher, like when you listen to political things, do you sometimes think of like the words that they use and how that affects how they say it? And do you like analyze what they're doing and criticize?
You should see me watch movies. It's intense. I can predict exactly everything that's going to happen in a movie because I analyze everything.
To be fair, movies are very predictable nowadays.
Nowadays.
No, I don't know, like... I watched this movie where... Like, I'm not a horror person. Like, I don't watch horror. But, I mean... Tarek wanted me to watch horror with him, so I watched a horror with him. And... Like... There was this motif of a door in the beginning... And the way that they filmed the child, like the camera angles of the child that they used when filming the child, I was like, oh, okay, something's going to happen to this child, and they're going to have to go through some kind of door to save this child. And Tarek like looked at me like, this is like 3 minutes into the movie, and Tarek like looked at me, and it was one of those movies where it was like no one would expect it. It was like quite unexpected. And then they introduced the dad, and I said, oh, the dad's going to be the one to save him. And because I really analyze everything. It does kind of suck though, because like I never used to do that. Like when I was just teaching IGCSEs, and when I was just teaching IEB and NSC, I did not do that. It's only since I started teaching AS that I have become obsessed with analyzing everything.
Okay, weirdo.
Yeah, but it's fun though. Like, it's really great. You get to know whether people are actually intelligent or just think they're intelligent.
Well, I'm on the latter end.
I don't know. You think on your feet, so you have some kind of intelligence. Okay. So, I'm gonna give you guys, can you guys come back at maybe 9:45? Is that okay?
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. I'll see you guys in a jiffy. Okay, are you all back? Is everyone back?
Well, I mean, I'm back. I'm not sure about everyone else.
Okay. Okay, just give me a sec.
Now I'm back to.
Just give me a sec. Activity 5, activity 6. Okay. So, I just realized I missed a piece in the slideshow, so I'm just adding this quickly. I just need to add activity 5 and activity 6 because I missed those. Okay, I'm not going to give you guys... I don't see you guys on Monday because obviously it's a public holiday and everything. But I will be seeing you on Wednesday. And while I don't expect you to work on the weekend, because I expect that most of you will be spending it with your families and whatever, I do expect that you are working on Tuesday. So the assignments I'm going to be giving you at the end of this lesson will be due for Tuesday, okay?
Sorry, sir, I
Wednesday.
wasn't a part of the class.
I just said the assignments that I'm going to be giving you will be due for Wednesday.
Okay, cool. Yeah, no, it's just because my friends from Australia, they haven't been here for like 7 years, and they just recently popped by, and they kept me. So I'm sorry.
It's okay. I'm just quickly. I forgot to add these questions. Oh, that should be question 3. Now I just need to make the text smaller because... Let's move that up. This is question 2. Sorry.
This is on the Google Classroom, right?
Yeah, the work I'm going to give you. Okay, I know that you guys are pushed for time. You guys are writing other exams as well. I promise you that doing these activities are going to benefit you. Okay? Please, if you do not want to do the activity because you do not want to do the activity, just submit a document and say, I do not want to do this activity. I will not be doing this activity. If you are going to do a half-hearted attempt, it is a waste of my time to mark it. So either do it properly or don't do it at all. Is that fine?
Yes, sir.
Please don't waste my time. I have my own family. I have my own life. I really hate my time being wasted. It just, yeah. So if you're going to do something like plagiarize it or use ChatGPT to write it, I will know. I am very good at using computers and using technology, and also like I'm very good at knowing like when people have plagiarized. I just have like a sense, and so even if it is very well hidden or whatever, I usually catch it. Well, I believe that I usually catch it. So if you're not going to do it properly, then just don't do it. For those who are in Madeleine school, I will be telling Madeleine, but I'll just be like, I will tell her that I asked you to only do it if you were going to do it properly. It is honestly better for you to not do it than to give me something that is plagiarized. Okay. Is that okay? Are we all good with that?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
You guys are like how old? Like old. You guys are almost adults. Some of you are already adults. So I'm not gonna baby you, please. Okay, cool. This is all sorted. Yay. Just sorry. Sometimes it can be a bit of a mission to create these slideshows, but they're worth it, I think.
So do you want to see my cat?
I will see your cat in a moment. What color? Yeah, show me your cat. Are you gonna send a photo? Hello, kitty. What's the cat's name?
Nikki.
Hello, Nikki.
Oh yes, hello sir. Now you actually have a face to see who Luca is. No, put your tail away.
I've never
Hello.
seen your face. Hello. Oh my gosh, do you have like a streaming set up? Do you like stream?
No, I don't stream. I just have a lot of money to waste. No, I'm just kidding. Everything was bought myself. I'm crying. Right.
Quite the mic setup. Okay, cool. I sent you guys a link to the thing, but I'm sending you another link because I just changed the whole slideshow. Because I realized that I'd made mistakes when I went through it. Okay. So we are specifically doing shorter writing. It is quite a long slideshow. And whatever we don't finish in this lesson, I am going to ask you guys to finish on your own. Just because we are very close to exam and there's still quite a few things I need to get through with you, okay?
Yep.
I promise I do not do stuff that wastes your time. I don't believe in work that wastes time, okay? I only do stuff that I genuinely believe will benefit you. Okay. Please, can you all join? I've only got one person online.
It's in the chat, guys. So if there's one thing that I hate about cats, it's the cat hair that comes from them when they walk.
Yeah, it is quite a
Oh, my mouse pad's dirty.
Okay, let's see how many of you are on here. Hurry up. Okay, there's 7 of you. How many are in the call? 7. Cool. Okay. So our outcomes, let's quickly look. So we're looking at developing a shorter written response. Our outcomes are drawing on the understanding of textual conventions to plan a shorter written response, learn how to convey a particular mood or tone to fit the purpose and audience for your shorter written response. So before you start, in our previous unit, you looked at how to decode questions based on prompts. This enabled you to see what core elements you needed to address, identifying the writing type or form, understanding the key contents to include, and writing what effects or mood to create with your linguistic choices. However, this only gives you the bare bones of what you need to include. To meet the requirements of the question effectively, you need to go further. For example, look again at the diary entry task from Unit 5.1 with the keywords highlighted. Your family, a new and unfamiliar place, your diary, reflecting, day's events, conveying your outlook and mood, and write your diary entry. Okay, so consider each element in the question in turn and explain each element, and for some reason, it does not have the required things. So I'm just quickly going to add a thing here. How do I do this?
You click a couple buttons, sir.
Yeah. Okay, maybe I need to try student page. Oh wait, there I just click on new prompt.
So I don't know if I'm crazy, but I love it when you can describe things in a Rockman language. Like if you can dumb everything down to like extremely basic levels. Like instead of saying you're programming, you say, "Oh, I'm just typing. I'm just hitting a couple keys."
LZ is. Just give me a sec. So, oh gosh. So we've got, I want you to just quickly do this for me. The starter activity. Consider each element in the question in turn and explain each element. So I want you to just, each of these things that are highlighted, explain it. What do we understand from that? What does it tell you? So you'll notice that this question that I've asked here is a lot more open-ended than the other questions I've been asking, because I want you to be able to, I want to see how you are addressing more open-ended questions, assignments, things like that, because a lot of your exam is quite open-ended, honestly. So I'm going to put it on student mode, student pace, and then you guys can quickly do that. I'm just quickly going to go fetch my coffee from the kitchen. Wait, I see some of you are writing the actual diary entry. That is not what the task is asking. It says consider each element in the question in turn and explain each element. And then this was the only, this please write a response tab, slide, is like a pre-made response. So you can just, it's if I forget to add the question, then I just add that one. If I forget to make the slide a question slide, then I just add that one. But Isabella, you were completely doing the right thing.
Wait, so we must write a diary entry just to make sure.
No, you're not writing a diary entry.
Oh, sorry, it's the analysis on the thing.
Yeah, you are analyzing the question. All of the tasks you are doing now are going to work together because you are going to be you will be writing this diary entry later on as the slideshow progresses. Okay.
Okay. So just to make sure that I'm thinking about this correctly, we must basically analyze every single underlined word in terms of a diary entry, even though it's not a...
Well, you're analyzing... No. Okay. So you're analyzing the question. What... Okay. So you're analyzing the question. You're looking at the element in each question in turn and explaining each element. So if we look... I'll go through the first one with you. So your family. So if it talks about your family, it means that you need to speak as someone who is moving with your family. So you are not moving alone. You are not moving to an unfamiliar place all on your own with your boyfriend or girlfriend. You are moving with your family. Okay.
I see. Okay. That makes a lot more sense. Sorry, I was thinking about it in terms of diary conventions and not actually just straight up what it's supposed to be.
Give here. Okay, it might be because you use this pencil in the past. How are you all doing?
All right.
Yeah, so it's okay.
Just something, I did something and I managed to move like the second part of my paragraph and I mixed it with my first, I don't know how to explain it, but it took me some time to fix it. Now I've lost my train of thought.
I'm looking for my tablet so I can check.
It's by your desk, Eltie.
Sir,
Yes.
when you write open-ended, do you put a dash or hyphen in between?
What do you mean?
Oh, you don't. I don't know. Like, do you put in like a thing in between, or is it just two words?
So when open-ended, the word open-ended.
Yeah, the word open-ended itself.
Yeah, I think it's a hyphen.
Thank you.
So cool for my tablet.
Okay, Elsie, you've still got 10 minutes left, baby.
I know what am I doing.
Then you've got a break.
Later.
Yes.
Oh, but then I don't have my tablet.
I will find your tablet in 10 minutes.
Okay.
Okay, guys, I'm just gonna go on to the next thing. We can come back to this later. I just really need us to get through this. Okay, so understanding a shorter writing question. So whatever the question is, you still need to understand the implications of your writing based on any prompt you have been given. So we need to make sure that we're getting the conventions right. So it is very important that you match. I'm just going to turn off student. Wait, I'm on the wrong slideshow, aren't I?
Probably.
Yes. Maybe it's this one. Yes. Okay. So it is very, very important that you match the style of the specific text type requested. In this case, for example, the form is diary entry. This means that you need to show you understand the conventions of the diary form. For example, linguistic choices, use of first person and particular tense. You need to give a sense of the here and now, as well as reflect on events that have just happened. For example, I am sitting in my room, staring out the window, out of the window at the wide open fields. Oh wait, I'm not showing my screen. Nobody tells me. To think that this morning I was packing up my bags in my tiny room while the traffic whizzed by outside. That's actually a really good opening. Form and structure. Diaries often begin by describing where you are and how you feel as you write the diary. So I just wanted to note here, you see how there's this balance between where I was and what I'm reflecting on and where I am right now. And what that does is creates the separation between this unfamiliar place and the place that I've left behind. In terms of form and structure, diaries often begin by describing where you are and how you feel as you write the diary, and then flash back to the earlier point, as in the previous example. However, some diaries plunge straight into what happened at the start of the day. At 7 this morning, I got up and packed my bags. I felt relieved to be leaving. This is actually a more common way to do it, and a lot of people do this. I find this one more fun to read, honestly, but do what works for you. So, our key concept that we're just looking at here quickly is meaning and style. What other conventions are found in diaries? So check back at Unit 2.1. You can go check that in your textbook to read some of the entries there. I'm not going back to Unit 2.1. Or look at any other diaries you have read. What do you notice about the use of language? What are the structural features, perhaps to do with layout or the way the information is ordered, do you notice? Does one linguistic style fit all types of diary? For example, Captain Scott's rather broken up narrative of his Antarctic expedition, with some sentences missing the subject I, suits the painful situation he is in, but would it work for a teenager reflecting on a day spent at a party? What do you guys think of that? I can't remember whether I did the Antarctic expedition narrative from Captain Scott, but if there are some sentences missing the I, that would make sense for the Antarctic expedition, and it's actually a really interesting feature, but it wouldn't quite work for a teenager reflecting on a day spent at a party.
Well, I hate to be that guy, but the two, like Captain Scott's expedition was very painful, and a lot of people died. If I remember my history correctly, a lot of people died on that trip. So he doesn't really have time to think about himself when his crewmates are dying because of this new hostile land that isn't suitable for life, or for human life, I should say.
So it is appropriate for him to say not to have the eyes missing. However, a teenager reflecting on a day spent at a party, it's all about them. They're thinking about
Oh.
themselves. And
Well,
so, yeah?
it depends if you're the life of the party. Like if you're the life of the party, you'll be the eye. But I know a lot of people who go to parties and they don't speak about themselves. They talk about the crazy things that happened at the party.
Yeah, but they'll also talk about, in a diary entry, they'll talk about how it affected them.
Oh, I suppose. Oh, like it affected me. Oh, okay. Sorry.
Captain Scott's not so much worried about how it affects him, he's worried about everyone else. Because he is the captain and people dying is kind of on his...
So,
Yeah. Okay, so in what way would the writing conventions change if the task was to write a letter about the move addressed to a friend in the place where you previously lived? Think about the form and structure of a personal letter and how the linguistic choices would change as a result of writing to someone else rather than yourself. So I'd like you guys to do this for me on your own. Getting the detail and content right. Remember that any writing task will include some direction for you to include certain things. Here it is to write about a new and unfamiliar place, which means you will need to decide what this new place is like. Think of the details you would include about the people, place, or location. For example, if we look at the people, who did you meet when you arrived? Were they friendly or unfriendly? What are your neighbors like? Do you even have any neighbors? The building you will be living in, is it a house, apartment, or other form of home? Is it in a village, a town, a city, or the countryside? How many rooms does it have? What is your room like? The landscape, what can you see from your window? Are you in the heart of a bustling city or in a remote village or area? Is it mountainous, flat, lush, dry, full of concrete or tarmac? For example, the concrete balcony has a rusty iron railing. Looking down, I could see a scowling boy gunning a grimy motorbike, which sent foul fumes spiraling upwards. Write an alternative sentence describing pleasant views or smells. So we've got the sentence here. Now I want you to write an alternative sentence describing pleasant views or smells. The next thing we need to do is we need to get our outlook and mood right. So in your diary entry, the brief says you need to convey particular feelings and a perspective. This can be done through your linguistic choices too. The voice of the diary writer, such as short sentences or rhetorical questions for surprise, good or bad. For example, they expect me to live in this dump? Really? I mean, I'm almost speechless. The use of vivid or emotive lexis to convey setting or feelings. For example, powerful noun phrases, foul fumes, intensifiers, like utterly disgusting wallpaper. All of these things create these feelings, this mood. Then we look at the use of punctuation to convey shock, surprise, or uncertainty. For example, the door opened slowly. This was my room. It was beautiful. The next thing we consider is planning and structuring our shorter writing responses. Once you're clear in your mind about what sort of writing you have to do and what to include, you should start to plan your response. For instance, how would you plan your diary response? You might make notes under the following headings. What is the unfamiliar place you will write about? Jot down ideas about the home or buildings, the people, the landscape. How will you feel? Will you be pleased and excited? Unhappy? Nervous? How will you convey this? What things will you compare with your old home? What will you describe? What adjectives will you use? So this is where I was going to get you to do more. Okay, yeah, actually, I want you to go up to slide 16 for me. So we're finishing on slide 16, and then I'm not going to expect you to do all those other things for homework, which is the non-fiction or transactional writing. So I'm going to say here in the chat, I want you to complete up to slide 16.
And so the other two, what was the things at the beginning of the class? the things that you wanted us to complete, and then you're going to be marking them, and then you're never going to do them again? Or was that on Tuesday?
That
Wednesday.
is everything that you have submitted so far. If there's anything that you haven't submitted, I will be marking it this weekend. That
Okay,
was
so
on Tuesday that I spoke about it.
Sorry, I remember. I thought I heard that you're going to be adding new things
No.
to the.
It's just at the beginning of this class, like when you came back from your break, I said I was going to add more things to the Google Classroom, but then we just didn't get through it fast enough. So I'm not going to be adding anything to Google Classroom. It's just going to be this complete up to slide 16.
Okay, cool.
Okay, cool. Can I ask someone to just post this link with the complete up to slide 16 in the WhatsApp group?
I'll do it.
Thank you. I've got to take it down. I'm scared I forget. Okay. I'll see you guys next week then, okay?
Yeah. Thank you, sir. Have a good day.
All right. See you.
Bye, enjoy your weekend.
Thanks, you too. Bye.